Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter down and welcome you to yet another second and 10 football video. And yesterday we did the NCAA 1960s quarterfinals. We're going to be doing the 1960s NFL teams. So to qualify for this tournament, especially, all 10 NFL champions, not just Super Bowl champs, but NFL champions. Remember, the NFL did their own stuff before the Super Bowl. From 1960 to 1969, all 10 NFL teams that won the championship. The four AFL teams that made the Super Bowl in the 60s, because Super Bowl 1 was 67, so 67, 68, 69, and 70. Well, the 69 Chiefs, for example, are the team that went from 69-70, and that was when the season started in the 60s. And then I added two AFL teams, Houston of 1961 and Buffalo of 1964, because of their winning two AFL titles, those franchises. The 68 Colts, a team that lost Super Bowl III, famously beat the 67 Raiders, who lost Super Bowl II, 20-10. The 68 Jets, who won Super Bowl III, crushed the Buffalo team 37-7. 66 Kansas City with a minute 10 with a great fourth quarter comeback. The Super Bowl one losing team Kansas City taking on the 64 Browns, the last time Cleveland won an NFL title. The 61 Oilers went into Green Bay to face Super Bowl I champions and won 14-7. Big. 69 Minnesota, who lost Super Bowl IV, beat the 67 Packers, who won Super Bowl II 24-10. A battle of Green Bay. 65 Green Bay went on to win 3-0 over 62 Green Bay. 69 Kansas City, the team that won Super Bowl IV, beat the Chicago Bears, who won the 63 NFL title. But you didn't know that. I didn't know that. And the 61 Packers beat the 60 Eagles, both NFL champs, 28-7. We have a quarterfinal. We actually had to do one quarterfinal off camera. It was the 69 team and the 66 team, and the Super Bowl winning Chiefs team beat the Super Bowl losing Chiefs team. So we're doing three quarterfinals. Jets at Houston, Green Bay at Minnesota, and Baltimore, Green Bay. I don't really have a preference to where we are. I think we'll end in Green Bay. We'll start in Houston because we go east to west, remember? So Houston will start first against the Jets. Because we're the Houston Oilers, Houston Oilers, Houston Oilers #1. That's at the 32. Joe Willie Namath at pivot. Matt Snell, who recently passed away this year, 2026. The Bears and Boozer in the backfield. Don Maynard, George Sauer, Pete Levens are your receivers. O-line. Winston Hill, Dave Herman, John Schmidt, Bob Talanini, Sammy Walton, not that Sam Walton. Houston's D-line is Don Floyd, Ed Husband, Orville Trask, Delma Allen, Mike Dukes, Dennett Morris, Doug Klein are your linebackers, Mark Johnston, Jim Norton, Fred Blake, Tony Van Fleet. I should have did the one Green Bay team first. In a sense, because you're supposed to, shoot. Okay, I'm gonna save. Yeah, that's right. We should technically do the one in Minnesota first because the two Green Bay teams are only a few years apart. My fault. We'll get back to the Jets game later. Green Bay favored by a point over Minnesota. They're in Minnesota. At Metropolitan Stadium, this is the first time. Gary Puso at pivot. He did well first game. Bill Brown and Clint Jones are your running backs. John Anderson, Gene Washington, and John Beasley are your receivers. Brady Oliver, Joe Colon, Dinkelhoff, Mel Sund, and Doug Davies are your D-line for Green Bay. Bill Quinlan, Henry Jordan, Dave Tanner, and Bill Davis. Dan Curry, Bill Forrester, Ray Nitschke. Linebackers, Herb Adderley, Willie Wood, Hank Reminger, and Jesse Newington are your DBs. Warriors for Clint.
First down. Flag on the play.
Flag.
False start. Offense. Flag on the play. Encroachment. Defense.
point to go those Twins. Max McGee, Boyd Dowler, and Ryan Cameron received. Wisconsin first. Leslie Thurston. Jim Ringo, Jerry Kramer, Forrest Gregg, Keeling, Jim Marshall, Alan Page, Aaron Pearson, Carl, Purple Higley, Wide Eye, Wide, Jewish, and some of the Lakers. Ollie Hildenberg, the ones that the money mark. Albert Bryant, Paul Krause, Carl Kisuki, and Ursula McAfee, MVPs.
Timeout, offense. Timeout, offense.
Third and 1. No timeouts left.
Timeout, defense.
Damn it, that's called flag.
Touchdown, Vikings.
The 2-point conversion. First down.
Interception. Jim Marshall is hated for his wrong way run. I mean, can't hate the guy. Yeah, he scored a safety for San Francisco, but then the Vikings won the game. Adrian Marshall put 270 plus games, consecutive games as a defensive player. That's hard to do. So we can go with the 7. 3rd and 4. not going to kick.
Flag on the play.
Delay of game. Offense.
First and 10. We got 34 seconds.
First down.
So the Vikings are going to the Final Four, 15-14. Green Bay, well, they only took 3 penalties. 3 turnovers. Kuzo, 23 for 35, 204, and 3 interceptions. Fortunately, that didn't cost them dearly. Scar, 13 for 26, 114, a touchdown, 3 interceptions. Taylor, it was 14-0 Green Bay, and it looked like Green Bay was going to romp, but they couldn't score points. It's like, fuck. I had 2 guys, and then interception, punt, end of half. Interception, punt, interception, downs, end of game. 4 trips to the rest of the Vikings. They scored all 15 points by that. Green Bay scored all their points by red zone. Recap and all that. No more and no Riley for other than aside, but it didn't matter. Now let's go back to Houston. Now back to Houston. Here's Joe Namath. Second and 10. At 36 of the Jets. George Blanda, the little man, football. At pivot. Charlie Tuller and Clyde King run the ball. Charlie Hennigan, the guy with over 100 receptions this year, 1,700 yards. Bill Roman and Will Dorival are your receivers. Al Jamison, Bob Talamini, Bob Schmidt, Hogan, Gordon, Rich Michael. Wait, Talamini's son from Jets too, aren't they? Huh, frick. Yeah, Bob Talamini for both teams. I didn't expect that. Berlin Biggs, Paul Rochester, John Elliott, and Jerry Philbin are your D-line. Larry Branham, Ralph Baker, and Al Atkinson. Linebacker, Frank Berkeley, Bill Bird, Jim Hudson, Johnny Sambo.
Touchdown, Bulls.
Houston back in the red zone in the second quarter. 14-9.
Flag on the play.
Flag.
False start. Offense.
Third and 7.
Good.
Flag on the play.
Flag.
Offsides. Offense.
Touchdown, Bulls. Touchdown, Bulls. Flag on the play.
Illegal use of hands. Offense.
Points, I'm going to yank it.
Flag on the play.
Holding.
Defense.
Defense. First down. First down.
Well, they're conceding in a sense.
First down.
He's out for early then.
First down. First down.
Touchdown, Jets.
That's good.
Flag on the play.
Offsides. Kicking team. First down. First down. First down.
You know it's one-sided when you throw 6 touchdowns against 45-26. Well, who's going to have to pass him? The rushing went to the Jets. And they didn't get sacked. Landed 18 for 32, 381, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Imagine his performance again, no interception. Jackie Lee, 1 for 2, 44 yards. Roman, 144 receiving, and again 129 receiving. Wow, those 5 touchdown catches combined. And they didn't need a rushing touchdown. Roman, and then there was a safety on the throw. Namath and Mainer made it 9-7. Landon Hannigan with 14-9. And then from there, it was all the others, especially in the third quarter. 31 yards to Roman. Namath 10 for 27, 156 and a touchdown. And 4 interceptions. Or Ellie 5 for 10, 108. He almost beat Namath in yards. Mainer didn't under it, 96. 2 red zone trips for the Jets, 4 for Houston. 25-26. So Houston. So yeah. Baltimore, Green Bay. Will the Packers? Baltimore's great. Art Star at pivot. Jim Taylor and Junior Coffee started running back. We'll probably see running later on. Lloyd Dowler, Carol Dale, and Mark Fleming are receivers. Go first, Greg. So let's see Thurston. Yeah, I think Thurston's a guard with Skronsky, Ken Bowman, Jerry Creamer, and Steve Wright. Baltimore's team line: Bubba Smith, Billy Ray Smith, Salute! Fred Miller, Nordell Brass. Mike Curtis, Dennis Gobos, and Don Shinnick are linebackers. Lenny Lyles, Rick Welk, Jerry Logan, and Bobby Boyd for your DBs. 2 yards. At the 12-yard nice punt by Chandler. Pearl Morrow, your pivot. Guy came in from an injured Johnny Unitas, led Baltimore to a 13-1 mark and the NFL title and was named MVP. Tom Knight and Jerry Hill are your running backs. Willie Richardson, Jimmy Orr, hopefully he's not too wide open, and John Mack. Bob Vogel, Glenn Rosford, Bill Curry, Dan Sullivan, and Sam Foley your own line. Packers. Mine Ulrich, Ron Kesselnick, Henry Jordan. Willie Davis, your D line. Leroy Caffey, Dave Robinson, and Ray Mitchell, your linebackers. Defensive backs, no Bob Cheer. So there'll be Hart, who will have to play quarterback with Tom Brown, Willie Wood, and Kurt Adderley. Those two Indians take 9 yards back.
First down.
Fourth and 2.
Timeout defense. Timeout defense. Timeout defense.
Baltimore's up by 15. Defense works. We may have more offensive yards. That doesn't make sense. Stars 17 for 34, 148, 3 yards. 109 for 22, 118, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Another field goal, Vault with a pick 6. Ford, who was perpetually wide open, but he made the catch and then Baltimore only made one red zone trip, but they still won the game by 15. That team's. Yeah, they had to pick 6. Steady snow. I didn't see steady snow at all. Brown, first grade, Rick Jeter out. Tom Brown. That's steady snow. That didn't look like snow. True. Our quarterfinals, December, the player of the week is George Blanda for 6 touchdowns and 381 passing. Roy Hilton of Baltimore is the defensive player of the week, and Fred Cox, the special team player of the week. Len Dawson, 468. Well, there's Blanda. He'll get there. John Taylor, 146. 61 Packers. McAfee, Hook, and Lyles. Carter and Blanda with 3 sacks. Taylor, 24 points for Green Bay. So, yeah. Quarterfinals. 61 Houston, 68 Jets. Houston winning 45-26. Super Bowl III winners lost. 69 Vikings were down 14-0, but they came back to win 15-14. They clawed their way back eventually. The 69 Chiefs win 14-10, Battle Kansas City, and the 68 Colts win 21-6. The Super Bowl III runners up. Final four. We're going to be in Minnesota and Baltimore for these ones. 61 Houston, 69 Minnesota, and 69 Kansas City, 68 Baltimore. So it's the Super Bowl IV winners against the Super Bowl III losers. The AFL champs of 61 against the Super Bowl IV losers. So yeah, 1969 seems to be a pretty good year. So we're going to be in Minnesota and Baltimore next week for the Final Four. Hopefully it'll be fine. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.